Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Hello, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Morning 5 on Monday, December 8th, 2014. I am Dave Biddle. And no, Coach Moore Sr., we're not kidding you. We are talking about the playoffs. That's right. After months of speculation, it was announced on Sunday that Ohio State qualified for the inaugural college football playoff as the number 4 seed, and will take on number 1 Alabama in the semifinals on January 1st at the Superdome in New Orleans, a.k.a. the Sugar Bowl. The other semifinal will take place in Pasadena and will pit number 2 Oregon against number 3 Florida State in the Rose Bowl. The winners of the semifinals will meet on Monday, January 12th in Arlington, Texas for the national championship. Now, you know hardly anyone outside of Buckeye Nation is going to give Ohio State much of a shot against Alabama. The Buckeyes are already listed as 9.5-point underdogs, and I won't be surprised to see that crack double digits very soon. However, while the Crimson Tide is rightfully the favorite here, I think the Buckeyes can play with them. This is not the dominant Alabama team of a few years ago that likely would have blown the doors off of Ohio State, especially a Buckeye squad down to their third-string quarterback. Alabama is a very good team and worthy of the number 1 ranking, but there's not a dominant team in college football this season, and I've been saying it for weeks. I thought Ohio State could play with anyone in the nation with J.T. Barrett at quarterback. After he went down, I thought the Buckeyes would be on the outside looking in at the playoff, even if they were able to beat Wisconsin, simply because they were down to their third-string quarterback in Cardale Jones. However, Jones threw the ball very well against the Badgers in the Buckeyes' stunning 59-0 win over the Badgers, and I think he can keep Ohio State in the game against Alabama. He's going to have to run the ball a lot more and a lot better than he did against Wisconsin in order to beat the Crimson Tide, but Jones is certainly capable of getting it done. We'll be breaking down this matchup for the next 3+ weeks, and Ohio State deserves a tip of the cap for just making it this far, considering everything the Buckeyes have been through this season.
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Urban Meyer and Nick Saban both took part in a teleconference on Sunday, and it was a mutual admiration society. I mean, you would have thought these guys were old drinking buddies if you didn't know any better. Saban referred to Meyer as a good friend. So if you're expecting to see what many think are the 2 best active coaches in college football trade barbs over the next 3+ weeks, you're going to be disappointed. Regardless of how they really feel about each other, Meyer and Saban are not about to give the other side any bulletin board material. Anyway, to see the full recap of what Meyer and Saban had to say about this matchup, check out our front page story that we posted last evening.
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Before I bring in Alex Gleitman to talk recruiting, I want to take one more look back at Ohio State's win over Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game on Saturday. 59-0? No one saw that coming. Keep in mind, Wisconsin was favored by 4.5 points. I saw a statistic that amazed me. Ohio State's 59-point win was the largest margin of victory in college football history by an underdog. College football history. I've been covering the team since 2000, and I was a diehard Buckeye fan for many years before that. I cannot remember a better overall performance from an Ohio State team in any game in my lifetime. I challenge the listeners out there to find me a more impressive OSU win than crushing a good Wisconsin team 59-0. If you can think of a more impressive win, post it on the BM5 thread on the front row message board. The first half reminded me of the OSU-Iowa game in 1995 when the Buckeyes led 56-7 at halftime over a solid Hawkeye team. But OSU only won that game 56-35, removing it from contention as best overall performance from the Buckeyes in a single game. So now the benchmark has been set. When we talk about the best we've ever seen Ohio State play, we'll all harken back to the 2014 Big Ten championship game. What a fun game. And if you haven't rewatched it yet, do yourself a favor and do so.
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Now for the latest on the recruiting front, let's go out to Alex Gleitman in New York City.
Good morning, Bucknutters, on this Monday morning. I'm going to talk a little bit about something, a thread on the front row, something interesting brought up about the impact of the win over Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game and how that would, impact recruiting. I'm a firm believer, and I'm someone who says that one game, win or lose, win by 50, lose by 50, I don't think that impacts recruiting whatsoever, but I think there is something to be said about what Ohio State accomplished on Saturday night. Number one, winning the game 59-0 on national television against the number 2 defense in the country, with their third-string quarterback against the number 13 ranked team in the country. I think, That shows recruits just how good Ohio State is under Urban Meyer. I don't think, they can play at that level consistently. They obviously haven't done it this entire year, but it just shows what they can be under Urban Meyer when you're a quarterback. It shows you, just come into the system. You are set up for success as a quarterback, especially as an offensive playmaker. And Larry Johnson, Luke Fickell, Chris Ash, Kerry Coombs, all of the defensive coaches, they really showed that they can put their defensive players in position to have success. If this was last year's defense playing in that game, I just don't know how they would have performed against Melvin Gordon and that Wisconsin offense that was so deadly, the last 7 games that they had won in a row. So I think from that perspective, it definitely helps recruiting. I think winning a body of work and winning the Big Ten championship, finally getting there, making college football's first playoff, I think that's a big deal. People are looking at the 4 best teams right now. It's Oregon, Alabama, Florida State, and the Ohio State Buckeyes. You're going to get some looks from guys that maybe you didn't get looks from before. Urban Meyer is really building a beast, similar to what he did at Florida. They won that national championship against Ohio State. They repeated a couple years later. They were consistently one of the better teams in the SEC, the best conference in America, and he just did an outstanding job there, which got a lot of look from players from around the country, California, New York, obviously the state of Florida, Texas, Ohio. I mean, guys from all over the country are looking at that, and Ohio State already has that under Urban Meyer, but I think even more so, the best players in the state of Ohio are going to want to play for the Buckeyes, and the best players around the country are certainly going to give Ohio State a look, which gives Urban Meyer a foot in the door, and you know what happens when that occurs. So definitely a big win for Ohio State. I don't think the result of a single game impacts recruits, but I think the body of work and the impact of what that win did and showed recruits of how good this team could be certainly can't be ignored.
Great stuff, Alex. Thanks as always. Also, thanks to all the listeners out there. I hope you all have a great day. Take it away, best damn band in the land.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?